What if I told you the perfect age to retire isn't at 60 or 70, or even something a financial calculator can predict? What if it's not about numbers at all? I retired at 58, and not because I was rich or I had it all perfectly planned. I retired because I was burnt out. I hated my job. I was tired of feeling like I was just surviving my life and not living it. I needed something different. I needed out. Today, let's talk about what research says about the ideal age is to retire, what experts say, what real people are doing, and why your perfect age might be different than anyone else's. Stick around because I'll also be sharing what I've learned since leaving work behind and whether retiring early was worth it. If you're thinking about retirement or dreaming about it, go ahead and subscribe. We're going deep today, so grab a coffee and get comfy. I spent most of my adult life in a career that I was good at, but one that was slowly draining me. I used to brush it off. Everyone gets tired, right? Everyone dreams about retirement at some point, but this was just a bit different. I was waking up with a knot in my stomach. I dreaded Mondays. I dreaded Sundays too, because I knew Monday was just around the corner. I felt like a shell of myself, irritable, exhausted, and uninspired. The passion I once had was gone, and so was my patience. One day it hit me, like a brick wall. And I said to myself, is this it? Is this how I'm going to spend the next decade of my life? I started looking at my savings, my pension, and I pulled out that dusty retirement binder that had been building. And I thought, what if I just stopped? Not because I was rich, and not because I had every dollar accounted for, but because I couldn't keep going like that. And so, at 58, I walked away. I retired, and suddenly I had to figure out what the heck I was going to do with my new time, and all these emotions that came with that. So let's shift gears for a moment, because while my story is personal, it's also part of a bigger picture. People are retiring at different ages for a variety of reasons: health, finances, burnout, lifestyle. But what does the research actually say? Well, if you look at the average retirement age in Canada, it's about 64 and a half. In the US, it's a little younger, around 62 to 64. That's according to Stats Canada in the Gallup poll. Now, when it comes to government pensions, things get even more complicated. In Canada, you can start receiving your CPP at age 60, but if you wait until 65, you get your full benefit. And if you wait until 70, you get even more money. The same goes for the US Social Security system. Reduced benefits at 62 and full at 67, around 67. And it maxes out at age 70. Here's the thing. Research shows that very few people actually wait until 70. Why? Because people are tired, because health isn't guaranteed, because they want to enjoy life while they still can. Some studies, like those from Harvard Health and various aging research journals, suggest that retiring around the age 65 might be the sweet spot for balancing life expectancy and the quality of life. Retire too early and you might risk boredom, isolation, and running out of money. Retire too late and you might miss that window when your health and mobility are still strong. Interesting though, other research shows that people who retire later, like in their late 60s or even early 70s, tend to stay mentally sharper, especially if their work is challenging and intellectually engaging. But here's the catch. If you hate your job, if it's killing your soul like mine was, Working longer may do more harm than good. So the science is mixed. There's no golden age that works for everyone. But we're starting to see a pattern emerge, and it's not just about finances. Now let's talk about happiness, because money matters, definitely. But it's not the only thing that determines whether your retirement is fulfilling. A massive study by AgeWave and Merrill Lynch found that people who retired between 61 and 65 reported higher levels of life satisfaction. Why? Because by that age, they've usually have worked long enough to feel secure, but they still felt young and healthy enough to enjoy life. But there's another layer to that. People who retired with purpose, a plan, a vision for what they wanted in the next chapter of their life, they were the happiest of all. That really hit me, because when I retired at 58, I didn't have a plan. I just knew I wanted out. I needed space to breathe. And once I had that, I started asking the bigger questions, like, what did I actually want to do with my time? Who did I want to become now that I didn't have to clock in every day? Retirement, I've learned, isn't the end of something. It's a rebirth. But only if you choose to see it that way. Okay, let's talk about the money side, because this part is what keeps most people up at night. And I get it. It kept me up at night too. If you retire too early, like I did, I'm leaving money on the table. I get less from my pension than I would have if I would have waited to 65. I don't get my full CPP, and I have to wait longer for my old age security. But do you know what I do have? I have time, I have energy, and I have my freedom. And here's the real truth. You can always find ways to make some money. You can downsize, you can travel slower, you can earn a little income doing something you love, something less stressful. But you can't earn your health back. You can't buy your 60s when you're 70. Now I want to talk about something that I know a lot of us have, but we don't always want to say it out loud. We hear it all the time. People work their whole lives, finally retire, and then they get sick and die. And honestly, that scared me deeply, because I saw that happen to friends and family members. They put everything off, travel, hobbies, rest, family, until someday. And sometime may never have come, or it came too late. And I didn't want that for me. I didn't want to spend 40 years working and saving to get a handful of tired years at the end. I wanted to live and not just exist. So yeah, financial decisions matter. But fear isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes it's your body and soul saying, wake up, this is urgent, life is happening now. That fear pushed me to take my life back, to choose freedom over fear. And now, that fear has been replaced with something much better. Peace. No one really prepares you for the emotional side of retirement. You're not just quitting a job, you're stepping away from an identity. For decades, when people asked me what I did, I'd answer with a title, with a role, with a routine. Then suddenly it's gone. And even though I was relieved, there were moments of loss. I felt adrift sometimes, like, who am I now? The good news is that feeling doesn't last forever. If you give yourself time and space, it evolves into something else. Curiosity, freedom, joy. I started doing things I hadn't done in a long time. Reading, making crafts, travel, starting this channel. sharing what I've learned with people like you. Retirement isn't just about rest, it's about reinvention. And that part, that's a magical part. So what is the perfect age to retire? It's an age when your finances are stable enough that you won't lose sleep at night. When your health allows you to explore, to move, and enjoy life. And when your heart is ready to trade productivity for peace. For some, that's 70. For others like me, it was 58. For you, maybe it's not a number. Maybe it's a feeling, a readiness, a whisper that says, it's time. If the voice is getting louder for you, don't ignore it. Explore it. Talk to a financial advisor. Look at your numbers, but also look at your life. What's it worth to feel alive again? I retired at 58, not because it was perfect, but because it was right. And if you're standing at the same crossroads, wondering if now is the time, I want you to know this. You are not crazy. You're not selfish. You're just ready for something more. If this video spoke to you, hit the like button, subscribe, share, and leave a comment. Tell me your story. Let's have a conversation about what retirement can really be. Not just for me, but for all of us who are rewriting the rules. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. And wherever you are on your journey, I am rooting for you. Until next time.